15 minutes, otherwise we'll waffle on.
Will there be a camp? Yeah.
We're live. Welcome to Donna and Cheryl TV with Yvette and Joe. This is going to seem, you know, like on the old 1980s like soap operas when they like replace an actor with another actor that looks nothing like them, and then they say so-and-so is now being played by.
It's like, who are you then? You Donna and Cheryl.
Oh, I don't know, a bit of both, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so we're on today and we're going to be talking about going back to work in a couple of guises. So in the guise of actually going back to an office, but then equally some of the other side of things, like, for example, kids going back to school or nursery. And those of you that are in the Soul System will have seen this morning that's Donna and Cheryl have popped something in there around what makes you feel safe. And that was really interesting reading some of the comments. I don't know if you found that, Joe, because it was a real mix between physical safety and, you know, like my house or my office, and then other people are more from an emotional perspective. So it's really interesting how people are coming at it. So I think just from talking to some of my friends and where I would have been if I was going back into my office, there's so many things that there's so many aspects to this. So I think the first aspect is people want to know what's going to happen. So am I going to walk into my office and have to have a temperature check? Is there going to be hand sanitizers on the way in? You know, because most offices have their desks quite close together. Is there going to be spaced out desks? And I think one of the really interesting things that popped up for me when I was chatting to my friends was everybody's really grateful to have a job, those that haven't, you know, been in the redundancy or the furlough or what have you, and they're really worried about raising those things with their line managers. But I know when Donna and I were talking about this the other day, and she was saying, you know, obviously with her clients, obviously quite high up, you know, various people, but there was a HR lady who was saying, well, you know, I need to know what's going on. I want to know what that office is going to look like as much as my people that work for me need to know. So I don't know about you from your perspective, if there's from the kids' angle as well with regards to, because you were saying they don't go back to September, do they, for you?
Well, some have. So I've got nephews who are down south, and so I'm up in the northeast, as you know. So I've got nephews who've gone back. I don't think my children will be going back. I think they would break up in 2 weeks, and they're at secondary school. So it's sort of like 1,300 children. I think some years are in sort of the maybe sixth form and another maybe important year. But certainly for mine, they're not going to be going back. But I think that's the thing. I think it's what I found interesting was when that was posted in the Soul System community earlier on. You're right. It's sort of it's people feeling like internally, like nervous. But then it all comes back to communication, like you say. So it's, you know, I know from perspective of my children haven't gone back, but I know that my sister-in-law will have obviously wanted to have very clear communication with the school, because you just want to know, don't you? You just want to know what's going on, what safety measures are in place. And I think that's just really vital that those leaders or heads of school or in business, like, you know, even the top, you know, like someone's got to make the decision and it's got to be filtered down. And I think it's really going to come down to how well leaders in business schools or whatever kind of communicate that down. And I think because that'll take a lot of the fear.
And I wonder, is there something there for me? I'm thinking about communicating up as well, because I think they're in the same boat as us. So, you know, it'd be really interesting if you guys that are online as well, just pop in the comment box about, you know, going back to work or sending the kids back to school. What will make you feel more comfortable in that scenario? Because I know for you, Joe, as well, you've been shielding, haven't you? So you've not like in a bad way or anything, but you've been in your bubble, haven't you? So actually then the thought of getting back to whatever normal looks like is probably more scary. You know, Donna said the same thing as well when she was talking to Owen yesterday, didn't she, around you know, being in that lovely little controllable bubble, and then all of a sudden like the pubs are open and it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Which really, I mean, what they should have done is open the salons, because I need my bloody pedicure done.
I need my hair. I haven't even got there. There's a goodness when I'll be getting my hair done. But no, you're right. I mean, I've got elderly parents, so I've been really super. And my mum had Shields for 3 months, so I've been really super careful about keeping away from them. But at the same time, a few weeks ago, we made the decision they were in the middle of a house move, so we've moved them, but super carefully, trying to be distanced and stuff. But I've been lucky enough to be in my little bubble really with my children. I mean, my husband is working from home, but sometimes has to go in. But he's kind of done the shopping and stuff. So it's like familiarity, isn't it? Like I'm still not used to, I haven't stood and queued in a shop and worn a mask to go out. Do you know what I mean? So I think again, that's another element. You kind of feel a bit removed from it. Whereas others, it's been totally normal. They've had to go to work. It's no difference. And I think that's where it's going to have to, I think it's like understanding, isn't it? So people understand that everyone's on a different part of the journey, if you like. And what has helped me, I have to say, in the last 2 weeks of moving my parents, is that I did step out of that a lot more fear-based thinking, and you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, life goes on, and we are coming out of it. So that has helped me a little bit from my paranoia and freaking out. But equally, I think, if everyone just has a bit of understanding that everyone's in a different place with it, I think that's going to be the key to really helping everybody.
Yeah, I think so. And I think certainly because I posted in on Owen's post yesterday, and I think I'm completely the opposite, because Colin was deemed a key worker right at the beginning. So he's not worked through the whole pandemic. So he's been out and about. And so, we've been going to the supermarket or individually each and what have you. But for me, I'm very, very conscious that other people aren't in that place. And for me, I'm being respectful of where everybody is, and that's fine. And I think that's key. It's like what you were saying, is that communication thing. Because I think for me, I'd want to know, if I was going back into the office, I'd want to know that there was an open channel of communication with whoever, both up and down, from them telling us what's going to happen, and from a pure health and safety perspective. But then equally, not everyone's going to be comfortable. I don't know about all of the workplaces, but where I worked, we had a couple of meetings each week where they were real kind of real quick fire, what's going on in life type meetings, with 25, 30 people in a room together. Now, I know that I would feel comfortable with that, but I know that there would be a lot of people that wouldn't be. And I think that's the thing is, so I guess if I was going to say, right, what's my lesson, what's my takeaway from this, is knowing and encouraging that communication. I think it's the same with the schools, really, isn't it? I think because there's almost a not reliance, but it's like, the teachers know best. Actually, no one knows what we're doing here.
And the teachers, it's just a job, and they'll be parents themselves.
Sorry, I'm obliterating our faces for a minute.
So what's Mel saying?
Honestly, I don't know how to feel about my kids going back to school. There's a lot of conflicting information about safe, and the kids, I don't believe. However, other kids have gone back and they're loving it. So I think it will be good for their mental health. That's important when we need to get on with the COVID-19 isn't going away anytime soon. Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? I think there's an element of that. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and her son's a teenager, and he's just absolutely, he can't understand why he can't be out with his friends. It's all of that, all of those social things that you develop at that age, isn't it?
It's really hard. I mean, my eldest daughter's 14, and she has been out a couple of times with a couple of friends, distanced, but at the same time, I can't say they'll have had a 2-meter stick and been totally separate. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to also let go as a parent on that front, and she's been outside and stuff like that, and just trying to accommodate everybody, aren't you?
But it's like Mel said, it's no one really knows what is for the best, because this is like new territory for everyone, isn't it? So I think we were talking about this yesterday, weren't we? I just think communication is so, I know we're over egging it here, but you know, what's hang on, I've got a couple of comments here. My employer's been fab about us going back to the office. We can if we want, but there's no pressure. It makes me feel safe. That's such a good point actually as well, because one of the things from where I worked as well was that we had 1,500 people, I think, in our building. And what they're saying now is because they've proven the technology that people can work from home, actually offices are going to be more of a hub than an actual place. So it gives people you know, the opportunity to come in or not if they want to. Or we've Wendy's commented, what makes me okay is the knowledge and research. Basic Community 101 says that we need to be exposed, not locked up. If you're well, we are on homeopathy, vitamin C, nurture, and life has gone on as normal in our house as far as it can. I totally respect others' views, but for me, alleviating the fear and emotional immunity trumps all. Yeah, I mean, Wendy is my immunity guru, but yeah, we're kind of both in the same boat, as in, you know, we're both really respectful of where other people are at, but I've just kind of tackled it in a slightly different way. But I think that's the thing, is there's so much information out there about what people, well, it's more speculation, I think, as well, because no one's actually come out and said, right, this is the right way to do things, going back to work or going back to the office. So yeah, I'd be really interested. I think we're going to be posting in the Soul System after this as well, just with regards to what things you guys feel that you want in place to make you feel safe to go back to work, whether that be through the kids or whether that be through the office or whatever it is, or even people that work for themselves like you, Jo. I mean, at some point you'll be having client meetings, you know, and I guess in places like Costa, or, you know, actually going to clients' buildings and stuff. So it'd be quite,
yeah, that's it. And it's just going to be, and I think from the perspective that we often come from is within the Soul System and stuff, isn't it? It's, for me, I think being able to communicate and have the confidence to speak out comes from within, doesn't it? And I think you've got to feel in a good place for yourself. You've got to feel confident, and you've really got to tackle any issues that you're feeling, if you're feeling fear or have you, and be able to be confident enough to speak out, so you can have that communication. It's not going to be easy. You know, no one's going to walk back to an office or whatever, and it's not about demanding things. It's just about, if it doesn't feel right with you, having the confidence to be able to say, actually, I would like a bit of clarification. And that's what I really hope that people will, you know, get from this, and have had the time, obviously, to reflect on things as well. And again, it's like I said, just understanding that everyone's going to be from a different place. So if everyone's understanding of each other, hopefully it'll be a lot nicer place, you know, to get back in it.
And I think it would be lovely if, like, this type of discussion happens, you know, at the schools, at the offices, really open, you know, talking about, look, I'm in fear at the moment, and I'm in fear because of XYZ, or, you know, whatever the emotion is, and people can openly talk about it, you know, rather than it going into, I think people kind of hook on to certain opinions, and sometimes because they're in fear, they get a bit aggy about it. So
like irrational thinking, isn't it? You know, so you're not thinking clearly.
Exactly. What have we got from that here? Employees need to listen, or they'll end up with claims on their hands. Yes, from our HR guru, Mel. No, sorry, I didn't mean, I'm not laughing, being flippant about it, but yeah, that is absolutely.
No, but it is true, and I think, and like you see, you know, the fundamentals of what you know, there's a lot of different things that make people feel safe or not, and a lot of it comes down to, when we asked that question earlier, didn't we, you know, keep sharing that with us guys, but you know, someone mentioned their faith, someone mentioned like their home, their family, and that is familiarity, isn't it? It's because we're comfortable, because we know, and it's kind of, we know a lot, or we think we know, you know, a lot of the answers, and we know the structure. So I think it speaks a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It really does. I think I think carrying on the thread of this post as well, it would be really good if you guys are watching it back as well, not only to post in there about, again, what makes you feel safe. There's already a thread going on that, but equally, do you feel empowered? Whether it's to speak to your bosses or to speak to the guys at work, or, you know, to speak to the teachers. And is there a fear or another emotion kind of driving you, maybe kind of being a bit reticent to have that conversation? Because it would be really interesting just to kind of draw some of those things out, because I think anybody that's in the soul system, that's a leader, that's then going back into any of those situations, or a teacher, or, you know, even if you're a parent, it might give us some ideas to, you know, going forwards, really.
Yeah, insight from others, isn't it? It's always interesting to have, because as well, you always think you're the only one, don't you? You know, you always think it's just you that thinks it, and it's not. And in this case, like you said earlier, everyone's in the same boat, and there is no definitive right or wrong.
Yeah. Well, we got another comment from Wendy that's saying, I feel very unsafe and freaked out when mandatory, poorly researched rushed through COVID vaccinations are mentioned. That's a really good point as well, because that's the other side to things. Because I think it's almost two camps, isn't it? It's almost the wanting to be well and the vaccinations and etc. And but then there's the other side of things, thinking, well, how are we developing vaccines this quickly for something essentially that blew up earlier in the year? So that's a really good point. Yeah, really good point, Wendy. And I think there's something there about you know, there is a lot of information out there. I think it's a case of taking the time to research that in a way that fits right with you, that feels right with you. Because I think sometimes when things like this happen, we're all human, aren't we? We tend to go with herd mentality, I think, sometimes, which is interesting. But yeah, I think actually I don't have the link here, but I'm sure Donna will pop it in the group a bit later. But the self-confidence masterclass will really help with some tools around being able to have those conversations with whoever it is that those conversations need to be had with. I think because you were on that before, weren't you, when we did it as a it was brilliant, wasn't it? There was just so much stuff there that
it's a lot of, like, you know, it all starts with you, it all starts inside, and it all starts with how you think. And once you can kind of recognize that, then you can, it changes how you can have conversations, doesn't it? And it changes how you can sort of speak out, and it also just changes sort of your mindset and how you kind of think of things, you know?
I think so. And it just puts you in a different frame of mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, well worth it.
Well, we've almost gone 17 minutes, so let's not take advantage of hogging Cheryl and Donna. But guys, keep the conversation going, because this is really interesting stuff, and it really does help other people to see other, you know, the different points of view. So there'll probably be another post coming out a little bit later in the soul system about this. But yeah, keep it coming.
Was there? We haven't done the keeping it real.
Oh my God! Yeah,
real.
See you later, guys. Bye.